Welcome to Unfiltered Three, spilling the tea with
Cece,
Autumn,
and Bree.
Hi, friends.
Welcome back. This episode is going to be a little different this week. We will be sharing some stories from Reddit, asking for some advice. And we are thinking about starting the episode with a tarot pull.
Yes.
This flow might change in the future, but right now I think we like the idea of pulling some cards, seeing how it connects to the story as we read and learn about it, and then probably we'll pull some oracle cards at the end for some general advice.
Yeah, I like that. Just kind of going with the vibe right now. And
Yeah.
I think the vibe right now is a tarot reading
Definitely.
prior to the story. And then, of course, just, let us know what you think.
Yes, definitely give us some feedback.
Absolutely.
We are in this learning process, and we appreciate you having you here for this journey.
Yeah.
Yes, our authentic, unfiltered journey.
Yes, not having to release these things with absolute perfection, because then we'll never release these.
I know, right?
So if you're thinking about it, do it. Just do it.
Yeah, don't be an Autumn. Oh, yeah. Perfectionism is in my brain.
Yeah, I feel you.
All right. So, what questions do we want to ask? We're doing a tarot reading first, right?
Yes.
So, what question are we asking?
Since we don't know, I almost feel like it should be a blind pull, but only ask for
Okay.
2 cards.
Okay. So just put the energy
Yeah.
of we need 2 cards for whatever's about to come.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I can take that. She's shuffling cards, people. Get your head out of the gutter. That sounded like more than 2.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I know.
It was 3 total, but I think these 2 are the 2.
Okay.
Okay.
The cards tell us what the cards want to tell us.
Okay. 3
All right,
cards
we have 3 cards. The cards are like 2. No, here's one extra.
2 came out together. 1 was extra.
All right, first card is the Sun. That's a major arcana card, right?
Yes.
I'm learning, y'all. All right. What? I opened the book up to the sun. That was kind of cool. Has nothing to do with it being the middle of the book. All right. So the Sun, numerology 19, astrological correspondence, the Sun. Element is fire. Companion cards, the Magician, Wheel of Fortune. So the appearance of the Sun card indicates that a new day has begun. All that is great in your life is illuminated by bright light, and it is time to celebrate. Everything you have worked for will now come into focus. There is no room for self-doubt or low self-esteem with this card. The Sun fills your soul with warmth and joy. You may even feel invincible. Your talents and gifts are recognized, and you will be held in high regard by everyone you come into contact with. The Sun encourages you to share this positivity with other people. Who in your life could benefit from your cheerful Nope. My brain said not today. Who in your life could benefit from your cheerful disposition? A little happiness can go a long way. Keywords are illumination, joy, celebration, and happiness. I like that card.
Yeah.
Feels warm.
I'm the only one who has a little insight into the story too. So
Yep.
We're gonna have some aha moments. I
Mhm.
feel it. All right. And this is another major arcana card. Strength.
Wow. You'll hear why I say wow later.
I'm getting goosebumps. This is fun. I hope you guys like this because this is fun. These cards are great tattoo ideas, guys.
I was just
Mm.
thinking that. I don't know how I would choose though. That's the thing.
I think you should just get a sleeve of them all.
That'd be sweet.
Sorry, did I just put a fantastic idea in your head or what?
Yeah.
It would be so gorgeous.
Just like of the major arcanas.
Oh my god.
So you're changing your tattoo appointment? I'm just kidding.
It might have to be a leg sleeve.
Yeah, that's true. That could be cool. All right, guys, strength. It's numerology 8. Astrological correspondence is Leo. Element is fire. We got 2 fire cards. Companion card is the star. So when we think of strength, we often think of the brute force and aggression, but in the tarot, the strength card is here to teach you that sometimes the most effective form of power is quiet resolve and a calm demeanor. Strength asks you to have courage when facing your fears or when you come up against obstacles. You have the ability to endure all of life's problems. You just need to show a lot of patience and understand that grace and dignity come from within. Now is the perfect time to reflect on your values and assess what is in your life that needs to change. Perhaps you have a bad habit that needs breaking, or you want to incorporate new mindful practices into your life. Your ability to do anything right now is heightened. Keywords: confidence, patience, stamina, stamina. You want to just finish? Stamina, trust, courage, and compassion. That fits.
Mhm.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Nuts. I'm so excited.
I want to know what this mystery card is.
I know. The third card. All right, this is 3 of rods. Is that death?
That's
Is that
death.
that's another major arcana
It's
card?
another major arcana card, yeah.
Holy shit.
3 major arcana cards.
All 3 of these cards were meant.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm. So is
That's
that really
kind of-
rare for
that's
3 to come up?
It's just really significant. Like this is a big life thing.
Wow.
It's like when you have your timeline and you have like your big pillars and then you have your tiny little ones. This
Mm-hmm.
would definitely be like a big pillar, like a
Wow.
big changing moment.
Like at a crossroads sort of deal.
Yeah. It's just like normally you get some coins, blades, like some supplementary cards.
Yeah.
This is bang, bang, bang. All right. So death, which is
Mm.
Not as scary as it sounds.
no, it's an interesting, slightly intense image on the card though.
Mm.
It's very pretty,
It's very pretty.
but that one specific part is a little like oof.
Yeah.
Okay. Death. Numerology 13. Astro Astrological correspondence Scorpio. That's why I laughed. Element water. Companion card the Emperor. Death is the universal constant. It is inescapable and it is painful, but also necessary to make room for new life. Sometimes these endings are expected, while at other times they are sudden and shocking, but they all share the same result: change. While some cards in the tarot allow you to shape your circumstances and change the outcome, death is not one of those cards. When it appears in your reading, you just have to accept that an ending is coming. Death also reminds you to explore the shadow side of your psyche. In order to appreciate the light aspects of life, such as joy and positivity, you have to understand the dark aspects, like pain and grief. Your best self is well rounded. Keywords: transformation, endings, embrace closure, and cycle. I am excited to hear this story, and I'm even more excited to do some clarifying oracle cards at the end.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that's going to be really good. All
Yeah.
right.
I think we picked a good one to start with.
Yeah, I think that this was meant to happen tonight.
Mhm. I'm very intrigued.
Please, as you're listening, share what you're thinking.
For sure.
because I'm so interested in hearing. I want to hear.
All right. So the title of the post is Please May I Have Some Advice? I am female 27 and up until 2 days ago lived with my dad, male 56, and my partner, male 27. We lived with him while my mom was sick and then for the last 6 years after she passed away. My dad abused my mom while she was unwell and has abused my partner physically twice in the last couple years. He's been threatening us both many days and telling us we were doing everything wrong. We could never do anything right. Cut to Saturday night, my dad came downstairs, he works nights, and he was fine. Then he started raging, saying he was going to kick in my partner's head. I was alone downstairs at the time, and it was like he just flipped. It was terrifying, and I had enough. We packed and left that night, escaping to my partner's grandparents' place where we are going to stay until we can save enough money for a small flat. Anyway, we went round to see him today to pick up various pieces we forgot, like the hairbrush, and he was unpleasant. He told me I didn't love him and that he wasn't sure if he wanted to see me ever again. He told me that it was all my fault, and when I started to cry, I've done nothing but cry all weekend. There was a typo there. He told me not to cry. I just don't know what to do. I'm still struggling to figure out how I should feel. My partner's grandparents and family are angry on my and my partner's behalf, and I just feel so emotionally drained. He keeps telling me it was because of stress, and if that's the case, is this how he's going to react every time? I did ask him this, and he told me I was being childish. Anyway, I told him I loved him again and that I was sorry. We left, and not 2 hours later, he's telling me he wants to rid of everything, all of our belongings. Please, could I have some advice? I don't know if I was wrong for leaving. He doesn't think we should have, says there is no danger and that we are being silly. I'm just at a loss. Our neighbors say he's changed as of late, being rude and horrid and such. What do y'all think? And what advice could you give me?
Yeah. That's a hard one.
First, I my biggest advice would be to say you did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You
Mm-hmm.
did absolutely nothing wrong. As far as your father, I would say he's mentally sick. He has
He's
something going on.
broken. He's
He,
broken.
he's got something going on mentally. Something chemically is not okay. Um, and you did the right thing by leaving that situation because even though it wasn't physical, I mean, it was physical at some points, like she stated,
Yeah.
but I feel like it goes the same like hand in hand. Like you go to the doctor when you have a stomach ache, but you don't go to the doctor when you're depressed. And it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of got that stigma. And I feel like abuse is almost the same way where you can see the physical parts of it. So like you can see bruises all over someone's arm, cuts, black eye, broken bones, whatever the case may be. Um, but the verbal, the emotional abuse, it cuts so much deeper.
Yeah.
And you left a situation that was not good for you and not good for your partner. And quite frankly, could have become worse physically for your partner had you stayed in it.
Absolutely.
And I think that it is okay for you to still love your dad because he is your dad. And that's going to be a hard thing to work through because there's a lot of grief there.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You took that first step of
Yes.
leaving that abuse, and there's going to be a lot of guilt and turmoil and did I do the right thing? Am I overthinking it? Like all of that. And I'm proud of you for, reaching
Yes.
out for help.
Yes.
It's the internet, but all the comments were relatively what we're saying too.
Yeah.
And you were open to listening, and it,
Mm-hmm.
it seemed like you just needed that reassurance. So,
Well,
you were on the right path.
I'm almost willing to bet that you'll hear me say it over and over again, but autonomy. children need their autonomy respected
Oh yeah.
because then they're able to build those boundaries. They're able
Mhm.
to process their emotions. And I'm almost willing to bet that she was never respected in that way.
Yeah.
Therefore, that is why she feels the way that she feels.
I mean, it was so normalized growing up
Oh,
that,
yeah.
actually doing something different,
People
not
pleasing is a
following
good
the
thing.
pattern.
Did she say that it only really started when her mom was getting sick, or did he?
He
She stated that they lived with him for 6 years during their mom being or I'm sorry, they lived with him during her mom being sick, and then
Mhm.
6 years after, but that he was abusive to her mom.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
So
I
this is
mean,
a trend that's been going on for a long time. I almost think that the scapegoat, I guess, for a lack of a better term, changed from being her mother to her significant other and her.
Yeah.
yeah.
The wording was also specific to he abused her while she
While
was
she was,
unwell.
yeah,
Mm,
So, maybe he just didn't know how to handle, like, already having these negative
yeah.
patterns, toxic patterns, but then the person he loved got sick and was terminal, or, whatever the case was, obviously ended up being terminal. And how do you deal with that?
yeah.
That could be a trigger
I,
to.
s- I,
That is true. I'd almost be willing to bet that he has some kind of mental disorder
Mhm.
and this was a bigger trigger for it or maybe like it entered the next phase
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like you know how you can have like I'm not a professional, so I don't want to speak on a professional's behalf. But you can have bipolar disorder, and that bipolar disorder, if it gets too bad and it's been untreated, and you're constantly going through that cycle, you can go into psychosis.
Mhm.
And so I feel like this is almost like a case like that, like where maybe he had some kind of mental disorder, wherever, whatever that may have been, or whatever that is, and maybe this was that like almost that final strand
Yeah.
that got pulled away and maybe he isn't who he normally is or who he truly is because he's got a bigger demon going on.
that's why I used the word broken earlier, because I almost feel like for some people, he could have turned a little sour because being mean to someone you love is easier than losing someone. It's losing someone's horrible. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's easier to go to the mean route, the angry route,
Well, it's
rather
almost
than,
projecting,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like you're projecting the anger that you feel or the emotions that you feel onto someone else because it's easier than dealing with them
y-
yourself, I think is
yeah.
essentially what you're trying to
It's easier
say.
to let things go if you can be mean and then
But
walk away.
or not even let things go. Like anger allows things to fester and then you're fueled by the anger. And
Yeah,
it's just a cycle that
yeah.
keeps
I
going and
think he
keeps
went down a
going.
real bad path
Yeah.
if
But
that is what happened.
but I
Yeah.
think she is so strong
Oh yeah,
in
this.
making that decision, especially
Mm,
I've never been in that type of situation with my parents, but
Mhm.
I've been in situations with my parents where there was an area that I needed to leave and I needed to exit and I needed to make
mhm.
those boundaries. And that's huge because they're your parents, you know? Like that's
It's hard.
you
Yeah.
get taught at a young age like you respect your parents. You
Yeah,
do things
family.
for your parents, you know? Like
They're supposed to be your safety, your place of
yes.
Mhm.
safety and comfort.
Yes.
And
And there's a grief process that almost needs to happen here
yeah.
and through that you're going to have that but what if I did this and I should
Mhm.
have done that and I shouldn't have said this but no matter what you would have said or what you would have done it still would have played out the same.
Yeah.
It may be even worse, who knows,
There
but
there are definitely big moments in your life where you take a step back and realize, your parents are just humans too.
yep.
And you have to make those tough decisions what's best for you, not based on anything else.
Yep, and
Yeah.
in the long run it's if they're
Yeah.
words.
I know, I get what you're trying to say though. I get it.
But if they're meant to continue to be in your life and being a supporting factor, setting those boundaries is going to create a relationship that's even better for you.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so I guess my biggest piece of advice is to, you know, continue on the path that you started to go on.
Yes.
don't go back,
Yeah.
and then allow yourself grace when you have those moments of guilt because from a people pleaser of my own,
Mm.
I feel especially guilty when I feel like I've left someone down and it could just be the simple task of, I didn't take them to the store or whatever, or I should have hugged them. They looked sad or
Mhm.
whatever the case may be. I take a lot of emotional weight on from the people that I love, and just have grace with yourself in
Yeah.
those situations and know that it's okay to feel that way for others because that's compassion and that is
Mhm.
that is a good part of you. But don't let it fester. Don't hang on to it. Let it go.
Yeah. And
But yeah, I'm so proud of you because that's a real shit situation.
oh yeah. And I think the tarot cards that we pulled beforehand, you can kind of see the connections now.
Oh
It's
yeah.
really
Absolutely.
reaffirming that, this change was good. And,
Mhm.
there is that strength there that you have to hold on to through this and
Mhm.
perseverance, building that resilience, all that. But I think, like I said in the beginning, this is you taking that first big step, and that's, the
Mhm.
scariest.
Yeah.
But you're set off on this path now, and it's a path of healing journey.
Mm.
Yeah. It is. And it's going to be a long one, but it's going to be a great one.
Yeah, it's gonna be so worth it.
I read a quote or heard a quote at some point today, and it had something along the lines of of saying something where it's not the end if it's not happy. Like you're
Mm.
still going through the journey if you're not at that happy, calm moment. That at every bad moment, there is going to be that good after it. It
Yeah.
follows through. So just know, like, if right now it feels like, oh my God, this is the end, I'm never going to make it through this, whatever daunting thoughts that are coming into your head, just know that you will. And you can't see it right now, but there's going to be so many different aspects of your life where you're going to be stronger
Mhm.
because you went through this. And it sucks that you had to go through that to build that strength,
Mm.
but it is a pro in the end.
Mhm. And I'm glad it doesn't seem, at least, like you're alone. You
Yeah,
have your
no, you have
partner,
a
you have
support
your
Mhm.
partner's
system.
parents.
Yeah,
That's,
grandparents.
the fact that you had a safe place to go to.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
They were lucky because
Yeah.
some people don't. I mean, try and think of the positive things that you get from these harsh moments, and a bigger supportive group was made out of that hard decision. It's tough to see the
Absolutely.
light sometimes when it's so dark. So,
Oh my God,
mm.
yes. You always hear that, it's gonna get better. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, the
And when you're
toxic
in those
positivity.
moments, yeah, you're
Yeah,
like, it's not.
it's shit.
Yeah.
Oh, while you're
It's
in
Like,
it, yeah,
yeah,
but
it's simply just shit.
I always had expressing to other people that, yeah, it's a light at the end of the tunnel, but I'm climbing up this tunnel. It's not something I'm walking down. And
Right.
as I'm climbing
mm,
up it, these rocks are tumbling down on top of me,
Some
and
are
like
hitting you in the
losing
face,
my
they're cutting your
slip.
arm. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
yeah,
And
and
sometimes the
sometimes
light is really small, but
yep,
it is still there. You gotta hold on to that faith and that hope
yes.
without
But
exactly,
gaslighting
knowing
yourself.
exactly.
yes, yes. And knowing that the journey is a hard one,
Yeah.
there's in that visual, there's gonna be times where you might slip down a couple rocks as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Mm,
There's gonna be times where you jump ahead 10.
that's
It's
right.
it's it's a roller coaster.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But, in years to come, you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, "Holy shit."
Mm,
And you're gonna be able to see those changes.
exactly.
Mm.
Yeah, that's awesome. Another, you know, everyone should have this, but I would definitely recommend if you're open to it, therapy to help talk
Yes.
through it and
Mhm.
even requiring your father to go to therapy for you guys to continue your relationship.
Yeah, having that boundary.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people consider that. And they think of, oh, that's like an ultimatum. But if it will truly help someone,
Oh my God, therapy.
Yeah.
Everyone
and
should go to therapy.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Especially, like, I think especially nowadays there's a lot of people on this self-healing journey, and there just needs to be that awareness that you could also put yourself into psychosis by trying to heal yourself, especially with bigger demons, you should have a professional help you with it.
Mm-hmm. Well
Yeah.
said.
But I think with that, should we pull some oracle cards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could definitely I mean, at the same time though, it's those 3 cards kind of hit the nail on the coffin.
Yeah, it was just the
Mm-hmm.
big neon sign.
Yeah, the big arrows point this way.
Yeah.
But no, that's, in some aspects of that story, I definitely relate, and that's a hard one.
Yeah. Me too.
So, what are we vibing out for this one? Just advice?
Yeah, this is more like
Yeah.
general advice, the smaller stepping stones of like wherever this person is at now.
I 100% bet, and I may be wrong, but I bet there's something about self-love in this.
Oh, for sure.
The self-love?
We have look at the bigger picture and bring love into the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the bigger picture. Full moon in Sagittarius. Are you thinking too much about the details of your dilemma? Fretting over minutia can be counterproductive. Or perhaps you're being all talk and no action. This card is a reminder that while it's good to think things through, sometimes you need to step back and look at the bigger picture. What do you then see about your current situation? What's the most positive thought you can have about it? I like that one. What's the
Mm-hmm.
most positive thought you can have about it? I'm going to integrate that into my daily life, though. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now is the time to count your blessings, even if you don't yet have exactly what you want. This card is also a reminder that we often have to take a few risks and go with uncertainty on this journey called life. Try to keep an open mind, and what's for the best, the universe could surprise you.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely touches on some of the things we already talked about.
Ooh.
And we
Mm-hmm.
always have that zoom out,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're in the heat of it. Zoom
Yeah,
out.
yeah. So in additional meanings for this card, it has 4, and I find the one that is most speaking to me is find a balance between speaking your mind and saying too much,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
especially in this situation
Oh, yeah.
when you probably have so much to say.
Yeah. It's hard because you want to be able to say all the things and have the conversations, but if that other person isn't ready for them,
Yeah.
It's just gonna fall on deaf
Yeah.
ears.
yeah, and it's going to
Mhm.
make the situation worse because
Yep.
especially if he's the kind of person to emotionally abuse or manipulate or whatever, they're going to use your words against you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's hard. You have to kind of filter yourself, and I definitely get what that's like.
I would
Mm-hmm.
almost advise to journaling
Mm.
in this one, which is again something that you're going to always hear me say. But I just find it because I am that type of person, right? Where I have a hard time knowing when to speak my mind and when I've said too much. And part
Yep.
of that is because of the emotional and verbal abuse that I've had in past relationships where I wasn't allowed to have a voice.
Yep.
Mhm.
And therefore, I will never mute or silence my voice again. But journaling helps me filter through what I truly want to say and what is just filler and what I feel like I should say.
Mm.
And then that way, when you're saying what you truly want to say, it has more of an impact and it feels more accomplishing, I guess. I feel like there's a better word, but it feels more fulfilling.
Yeah. It's another one of those things where if you're able to work with a therapist, they'll also help work you through how to set up these conversations
Yes.
if they're in
Yep.
the right place to even receive this conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and all that. It's in this kind of scenario, it's definitely worth it.
All right. So the second card, bring love into the situation. New moon in Aquarius. Aquarius is all about progress and modernity. So this is the time to move forward. The new moon in Aquarius card means no looking back. Change is on its way and it could come quickly. Whether you get the change you want depends both on whether you believe you can have it and how much you are relying on others to bring it to you. This card comes with the suggestion that you may need to do things independently on your own, but be loving, not too pragmatic. Time may be of the essence when this card comes up. Aquarius energy has an electric feel to it. Certainly, there is a sense that you need to let go of the past and move towards your future as soon as possible.
It hits that story. Huh.
Oh, yeah.
There's additional meanings to each card for this oracle deck. And one of them is you need to be more detached from the situation. And I view that in like that zoom out aspect.
Mhm.
Like when you find yourself, I would almost advise like when you find yourself spiraling to take that step back and zoom out so that you can get that bigger picture.
Yeah. And I think you almost need to have that zoomed out point of view in order to, I think self love is in that card, but as far as like, you're still going to love your dad. It's your dad.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's hard to
It's
get to that point where there
it's not like
isn't.
a friend. It's not like a boyfriend. While those are still hard, like this is your father. He's been in your life since you were born. You made that bond when you were very young.
Yeah.
That's going to be a hard bond to let go of. And maybe you don't need to fully let go of that bond.
Mhm.
Maybe you need to find a new way to love it, to cherish it. And maybe
Mhm.
that's from afar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And having that zoomed out view, like one of the things I talk about a lot is generational trauma.
Yes.
That's helped me work through my relationship with my family. And my parents were abused, their parents were abused, and so on and so forth. And it came down the line, and it's not an excuse, but it's also there. And so you can understand their mindset, but also have your boundaries. Like there's a game of balance there.
It's an explanation for you. So it's like
Yeah.
instead of just being like, why? Why did this happen? Why did they do this? And it just being one giant question mark.
Yeah.
You now at least have that. Well, there's the why.
Mhm.
Doesn't make it, like you said, excusable, doesn't make it correct behavior, but at least it's almost that closure in
Yeah.
a sense because you know why. You
Yeah.
know,
And you need the why to work on the issue.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And your ancestral line is proud of you for, unfortunately the burden of this curse is laid on you, but you're the one that's going to be breaking it in the line, and that's,
Mhm.
you're making them proud even though it shouldn't be that way. It is. And again, that's the balance.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you're just making it to where, 3 generations from now, they're not going to have to go through that. They're not going to have to question, well, why?
Yeah.
They're not going to have their autonomy not respected. They're not going to have childhood trauma, generational trauma, hopefully no trauma, that situation. But if you can learn from this experience and move forward with it in a positive way, then that's a huge impact that you're going to have both for yourself and everyone around you.
Yeah.
Deep, man. Deep.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate story, but that was good.
And
Yeah,
thank
I
you
like
to
the
this.
conversation
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it spurred for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to this woman for sharing it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for being vulnerable
Yeah.
with total strangers on the internet.
And we're so proud of you.
Absolutely. It's the power of setting boundaries. Hard in the moment, but worth it in the long run.
So hard in the
I
moment.
know.
Especially when you're still getting
When
figuring it
yes,
out.
yes. Every boundary you make, it gets easier. It's slightly easier to make the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you just learn from the experiences and learn how to communicate. That's the biggest one.
I need a whole episode to just work through that, because I think even in this kind of format, I for sure would love to talk about
I mean,
boundaries and
you know
my
how I
struggles with
feel
them.
about boundaries. I will talk about it all day with people.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, we could go on another hour just from this alone. It'd be a whole
I'm
tangent.
I'm the person at work where I'm like, girl, you need to set that boundary. I'm always boosting people up to set their boundaries. It is so needed. But I'm also the type of person that, like, I want others to set boundaries with me because I don't do good in the gray. Like, I like the black and white. And so if you make a boundary with me, obviously in the correct way, but I flourish. I do good. I thrive because now I'm like, okay, I know moving forward that that's not a gray area.
Yeah.
We can talk about that subject or we can't talk about that subject or whatever the case may be. But yeah.
And
Yep.
that's why we have a healthy friendship with you.
Yes. Wasn't always like that, but personal growth.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, let us know what you think. If you have any advice and love to share, support, tell this girl you're proud of her because this is huge.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you have any similar stories and you want to share those, or you want us to read them, you want us to do this for you, whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
drop it
Yeah.
in the comments on any of the social media pages.
But I think we really enjoyed doing this episode and we want to do more,
mhm.
because this was a tester episode. We just did the one and, it felt really good. And yeah, let us know what you think. Should we keep these short and simple? Should we do more than one? We're up to your feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But until next time, thanks for joining us on another episode of Unfiltered 3. Remember, we release new episodes every Monday. But if that's not enough, connect with us on our socials at Unfiltered 3, where we can uplift, inspire, and embark on this journey together. Thank you for listening and for being a part of our community. Until next time, take care and keep shining your authentic light. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.